Hello. I know this is a bit of a different video than what you're expecting because I don't normally vlog on this channel. At least I haven't vlogged in a long time on this channel. But here I am vlogging again. I'm at the park. And I'm going for a bit of a post-dinner walk, and I thought I would take you guys with me because I wanted to share a story as well as some thoughts I have about the events of this story. And it's a story that I've been meaning to share for quite some time now. And I could never really find the right time to tell this story until I realized I don't actually think there is a right time. It's just whenever I feel ready to tell it, and I feel ready to tell it now. So I guess this is why I'm making this video. So the story of this video, I'm going to try to keep it condensed because I can be quite a verbose person and just go on and on and on if you let me. But the point of this story, or the moral of this story, is simple. It's once you overcome what I call real fear in life, you really don't have to be worried about fake fear anymore. And what do I mean by this? What is real fear and what is fake fear? I'm sorry, I'm putting the camera in the sun. But what are these fears that I'm talking about? Well, in my mind, fake fear is that kind of fear you get when maybe you don't want people to know that, I don't know, you like anime or something, or you're embarrassed to have an interest that you think is unpopular, or you're afraid of getting rejected, whether that's from a job application or a romantic interest, so you don't even want to try. And so that's what I would consider fake fear. It's not real. It's all in your head. It's just fear that you've kind of let yourself believe that it's something that is very threatening when it really isn't. Real fear is the opposite. Real fear is actually fear, like the primal fear of I'm going to lose my life, I'm going to get seriously hurt, or I'm going to lose someone I know kind of fear. And that was the fear that I was going through a couple of years ago in 2023. And so very few people know this outside of my friend group. And the details are long and full of hospital visits and medical records and appointments and just stress. And it's so emotional for me I get a little bit emotional when I think about it, because that was my life for about 6 months in 2023, starting in May until around November. And there's so much backstory to it, and there's so much detail to the story that I don't want to bore you with everything. But long story short, I got hurt playing basketball in May 2023, and I could not figure out what went wrong with me. Like, I was having this persistent knee pain that would not go away, and this was concerning because I also have had a surgery on my left knee playing basketball, or because I played basketball in 2018, and I tore some cartilage on my lateral femoral condyle on July 5th, 2018. I'm pretty good with dates, and even though I'm not very medically inclined, I read over my medical and surgical report a lot, so lateral femoral condyle is one of those terms I know really well. But anyways, yeah, I tore some cartilage playing basketball back in 2018, did about a year in physical therapy, had surgery, but got back on the horse. I was able to go back to playing basketball. I could run again, I could do physical activities again. And so I thought I was in the clear for the most part until May 2023 came along, and then I decided to play basketball longer than I probably should have one day. And then there wasn't like a horrible searing pain that I felt, but there was a soreness, persistent soreness, and occasionally very sharp pain I would get when I would be walking around. And so I was limping. And this was all while I was finishing my PhD at UC Irvine. So those of you know that I did a PhD at UC Irvine, and I finished my dissertation and gave my defense on June 5th, 2023, which is documented on this channel. But people don't know that actually on June 6, 2023, I actually had an MRI on my knee to see what went wrong. And so I went to get that MRI. Also had to get like an injection of this like contrast fluid so they could better see. And that was very painful. So imagine going from like the euphoria of passing your PhD defense on June 5th, and then you're getting this MRI where you have to get this needle in your knee that injects this contrast fluid so they can see the MRI better. Pretty strong reversal there. And the MRI was inconclusive after the report came back in, but they really couldn't see anything wrong with my knee. In fact, the person who was looking at the MRI couldn't even tell I even had a surgery at one point. So I took that as a good sign in the sense that, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. I'm going to be all right. But the pain was still there. And you have to imagine also during this time, I just finished my PhD. I just went through this very stressful PhD experience, and I don't have a job lined up yet. And I'm looking for a job, and I'm planning on moving back to the Bay Area. I was from Irvine, Southern California. So I was thinking of all these different things: moving, where am I going to work next? What did I do for the past 6 years? I have to write this 200-page dissertation. Like, just so much going on. And sorry, the lighting is just, I cannot find the right place to place this camera. Sorry, we're back. We figured out the camera situation. But again, just imagine having all these concerns flying around in your brain and can have thoughts spiral out of control. Just imagine just being obsessed with all these worries. And so I was in a really bad place. Honestly, one of the worst places I've ever been mentally and emotionally. And I remember going to physical therapy for about 8 weeks in Irvine after my dissertation was done. And, I would do these exercises and I would come back exhausted after the physical therapy. And I felt like I was getting a little bit better, but it was just so slow. And I would still have the pain in my knee when I would like walk up the steps, or if I bent down too far, I would feel this pain. And yet, I was getting told, oh, nothing's wrong on the MRI, nothing looked bad on the X-ray. I also had an X-ray, I didn't mention that, but yeah. And it was just so frustrating because I just didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. The doctors didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. I was seeing a sports medicine physician, I was seeing a physical therapist, I was seeing a chiropractor. I was just seeing anyone who would see me because I was just so desperate to get better again. And the day before I left Irvine, literally my last night in Irvine I ever stayed, I had a flare-up of the injury. Like, I was moving because I was moving back to the Bay Area the day after. And I had this horrible pain in my knee, just like out of nowhere, just kind of like came out of nowhere, like this exploding pain. And it was like pulsing, sort of. I don't know how to describe it. It felt like my knee was just like, I don't know, flaring. I don't know. That's like the best way I can describe it. Like an oscillating pain. And I had to go to the urgent care that night. Literally imagine you're about to move, and then the day before you move, you have to go to like the hospital. And so I drove back to San Francisco after being taken to the hospital like the day after. I was on crutches and I was driving back to the Bay Area to my parents' house, and I was just thinking to myself this whole time, like, what the heck has my life come to? Where I just did 6 years of a PhD, 10 years of college plus grad school, and what do I have to show for it? No job, a bad knee, no prospects, and that was some real fear. I remember taking these baths. I would take these Epsom salt baths after the physical therapy appointments, and I remember just like sitting in the bathtub and just kind of like my head's in my hands. I'm just thinking to myself, like, what has my life become? Like, how did I get here? Like, what did I do to deserve this? And that was really scary because I honestly just felt like my life was basically over at that point. Like I felt like my quality of life had just gone to zero, which is not true, but that's what it felt like. And I'm not trying to make light of anyone else's injuries, and maybe people would be happy to have what I had if they're going through something much worse than what I had, but it definitely felt that way. And you have to remember, I already had an experience of basically being unable to be physically active for a year. Like I had to walk with crutches and a cane in 2018 because of my basketball injury that required me to get surgery. So I had already gone through a period where I was incapacitated and not being able to do the activities that I like doing. And it was like more devastating to go back to that, because you would think, oh, I had gone through it once before, I could go through it again. But it was almost like worse, because it was this sort of, gosh, like you got out of that situation. You were okay, and you just had to go back to playing basketball. Like, why did you do that? And there was just a lot of self criticism there that probably wasn't healthy. And I also think that a lot of it probably stemmed with the fact that I was very purposeless at that point in life. Like I had just gotten out of school, I didn't have a job. And I really think that there was some mental component to this injury. That the physical injury maybe wasn't that serious, but my mind was so wrapped up in this emotional state that, I don't know, it just made me more sensitive or something. But I definitely think there was a mental component to all of this that I can't really explain. And it went away. Like this, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but the pain subsided after I started my job at NASA Ames. Like I was still injured when I started my job, but then within like the first month of working my job, I was starting to get better. I was starting to see a new physical therapist in the Bay Area, and we were making progress. And I'm okay now. Obviously, I'm walking around a bit, but it was so strange to me how just having a job again, having some sort of purpose again, helped me get back on my feet, literally. But I know I skipped ahead there, but let me go back. So I just said that I spent my last day in Irvine in an urgent care and had to drive back on crutches. And I remember being back in my parents' house for about a month and a half, and just my parents' house has like a lot of steps in San Francisco, and San Francisco is very hilly. So you have to imagine me just trying to like navigate this house on a steep hill with stairs, lots of stairs, on this aching knee that had surgery on it before. And I was really sad, and my friends would visit me from time to time, and some of them had just said that they'd never really seen me so down and depressed. And I know my parents were really concerned about me and my mental state, because it was true. I mean, I had given, I won't say I'd given up, because I was still actively trying to find ways to like fix this. So like when I came back to San Francisco, I immediately had to like pay for another term of health insurance through grad school, because they let you stay on the graduate student plan a term after you graduate. And so I had to sign up for that insurance, had to pay all these medical bills out of my savings that thankfully I had saved up during grad school. And of course I was lucky enough that I could stay with my parents during all this time, so I didn't have to worry about like rent or something. So I had a lot of things going for me in retrospect, and I was grateful that I was able to handle all those financial hazards. But just try and imagine this whole situation happening to you. Like it was scary. It was really scary. And I really thought that my quality of life was just never going to be the same again. In some ways, it's not even fully back, because I still just I'm never going to play basketball again. Like I've decided, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm not going to get fooled a third time playing basketball. So it's it was very difficult to go through this. And I know it sounds very self-pitying and it was in the past, but it was one of the most formative experiences of my life. I mean, that was the real fear that I was talking about in the beginning of this video, that fear of life being forever changed or will never be as good again. And I think the combination of finding purpose again, in terms of finding a job that I actually like, as well as having support from my family and my friends, and also just choosing to try and find the answer, right? Like I said, I was still actively seeking doctors to talk to. I was doing a lot of research on knee injuries. I had printed out all these medical papers. I was trying to teach myself how to read MRIs, and I had all my records, all my different MRI scans from the previous injury in 2018 to the MRI I had in 2023 after the like on June 6th after my defense, and I had another one on like October, I forgot what day it was, October 13th, I think it was Friday the 13th, 2023. So I had so many of these MRIs that I was trying to read, and I was trying to just be a detective and not just accept whatever the doctors were telling me, because I was at that point talking to my third or fourth sports medicine specialist, and there was no answers, and I was on my second physical therapist. And I think this also taught me that you really have to be your own advocate when it comes to your health, and that you just cannot, if you feel like something's off and that the doctors aren't getting what you're going through correct, you just have to find another doctor, or you have to make your case as to why things aren't what the doctor says they are. And so I know this has been a bit of a discombobulated video, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to get to the point now where I'm talking about how this experience has helped me get over fake versus real fear. Like a fake fear I'm having right now is just like, oh, this video is going to come out really sucky because it's not planned, it's just all over the place, it's not good. But it's my YouTube channel, I can put whatever I want on my YouTube channel, reasonably speaking, and if people don't like it, they don't have to watch it. And the people who want to watch it and will think they'll gain something out of it will watch it, and that's the end of it. And I think that's the kind of fake fear I'm talking about. I don't really, or I try not to let those fake fears impact my life in any way anymore, because life is honestly just so short. And when I was thinking that I had such nothing, that's such a kind of a oxymoron, but I had nothing to really look forward to in terms of like a good quality of life with this knee injury. Just I was walking with a cane again, for the second time around with the knee injury, and I was just thinking, that's it. But now that I know that I've overcome that, and I can do things again, and I can enjoy life, and I can have friends, and I can be happy again, it's just really made me just want to do the things I really like and not care what anyone thinks. Like, a good example of this is like when I go out to events in San Francisco, like maybe there's like a birthday party or something, or an AI tech event, and there's like music. One thing about me is that I like to dance, and I have not been afraid anymore to just be like the only person dancing on the dance floor now. Even if I'm like the first person trying to start dancing and getting people involved, and like no one else is doing it, like I don't care. I mean, like, I don't care if strangers I don't know think I'm weird for liking to dance to 2007 pop music. I don't care. Like, it's just, that's nothing compared to the fear of losing one's quality of life, or life in general. You know what I mean? So I'm just really happy that I am where I am now. And it's not to say I don't have bad days in terms of just having a good day or a bad day in terms of my of things that happen to me, but it's just because of this overcoming of real fear. I just try and see the bigger picture at the end of the day, in the sense that this is whatever is troubling me in my day-to-day life, as long as it's not bringing me back to where I was in 2023, then it really isn't that big of a concern. That's just kind of how I see it. And so I hope that while this video was very discombobulated and very not well put together, in my opinion, as a content creator, I'm hoping that the message compensates for that, because it's something that has really been on my mind for a while in terms of telling this story. And again, very few people knew about it outside of my close friends and family. But I really want to encourage people who might be letting fake fear take over their life and prevent them from doing what they need to do or want to do, or restrict them from being who they are just because someone else may not approve of it. Just drop it, just say, this really isn't anything. This is fake. This is not real. It's a quasi fear. It's an imposter fear. This isn't the fear of like, I'm about to get my life taken away from me. So anyways, I think that's all I really wanted to say with this video. But I just want to say thank you if you stayed this whole time to watch this, because I know it was long. And maybe I might make another video really detailing what my day-to-day was like during that time period in 2023. Because I was thinking for this video, I was thinking maybe I would show like my calendars and my all my appointments on the calendars, and even videos of me trying to do all these physical therapy exercises. Like, I had this whole grand idea of what I wanted this video to be like. But at the end, I think the message of just don't let fake fear win out over real fear. Just once you've overcome real fear, you don't really have fake fears anymore. I think that was the most important thing to get out. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful to rediscover a love for YouTube and content creation again. And I hope that you'll stick around and see the next video that comes out. So until then, I will see you next time.